got a long way to go.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Spencer.
Hi, Spencer.
Nice to
Hey,
see you
Spencer.
guys.
Hello, everybody. Are we all here? Can we call the meeting to order?
Hi, Christina.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Christina. How you doing?
I'm good, Mr. Chair. Would you like to start the meeting?
Yes, yes. Let's call. Well, first of all, so glad to see that all of you are healthy and safe, and just to see you is very nice. And I think we should do this more often, so we can talk. And let's start with roll call.
May I start with my little speech?
Oh, of course.
Opening remarks by Yvonne.
The opening remarks. Okay, go for it.
A meeting without Yvonne.
The
Go.
rules.
Yes,
The rules of the day. Go ahead.
Rules and regulations.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to Miami DDA's Executive Committee meeting. My name is Yvonne de la Vega, Board Secretary for the Miami DDA, and I will be serving as the moderator along with Ivory Boston from our Miami DDA team. The Miami DDA Executive Committee meeting is being live streamed on Miami DDA's YouTube page, so members of the public will be able to view this digital meeting fully. Members of the public may pre-record their questions or comments by dialing 305-379-6586, or they may send their questions or comments via email to publiccomments@miamidda.com. Any comments received within the public comments period prior to this meeting have been shared with the board and committee members, entered into the record, and considered prior to any action taken. The committee members will have an opportunity to address the public comments received as time permits. Instructions for leaving public comments for any of our Miami DDA board or committee meetings can always be found on our website at miamidda.com. All board and committee members are reminded not to communicate with the other board members via chat, message, or phone, as it is a violation of the Florida Sunshine Law. All conversation is to happen within this meeting that is being recorded. We encourage board and committee members and all participants to use the chat feature for any questions and or comments you may have during the discussion. Board and committee members, Miami DDA Executive Director, City of Miami Deputy Attorney, and our Miami DDA staff will be on video with video and microphones open during the entire meeting. Closed captioning has also been made available for this meeting. If you wish to activate closed captioning, please contact us immediately at publiccomments@miamidda.com or at 305-379-6586. With that, Miami DDA Committee Chairman, Commissioner Manolo Reyes, with your permission, I will call out the names of those present for roll call so that we can begin the meeting.
Right ahead.
So Commissioner Reyes, Philippe Houdard, Barnaby Min, Danette Linares, Commissioner Eileen Higgins, Nancy Jackson, Gary Ressler, Richard Leidecker, Crowley, Marta Viciedo, Christina Crespi, Paula Gomez, Aaron Gordon, Rakova, Alan Peacock, who is our captioner, Kim Hills, Victoria Sella from SMS, Elena Bondarenko, and Susanna Maducci Adams. And I have Dominique Gibbs and Nitin just signing in right now. And I believe that is it. If I've missed anyone, please let me know. And I have somebody on an iPhone that I cannot identify, if that person can identify themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Ruiz is on. Okay, and we're ready.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Yvonne. Thank you.
Join the meeting.
And Christina, I think it is your turn now to start.
Sure.
Discussion.
Good morning. Thank you for joining the meeting this morning. And so just wanted to give a recap on the budget timeline that you have in your package. We were supposed to have a workshop last week that got rescheduled to July 10th. We wanted to be able to provide real revenue numbers and have the opportunity to talk with the city budget office on what was next on their end as far as recommendations that they're making. So we did have that discussion yesterday, and we're going to be rerunning the numbers based on that. And we should have our workshop on the 10th which will give us enough time to submit what we need to the city for the meeting on July 23rd. So if you look on the timeline, working kind of backwards, September is when we have our 2 budget hearings. And in August is when we have to turn in the agenda items. So by July, usually by the July board meeting, which we always move up to meet deadlines for the millage, which goes up July 23rd. This year, I want to do it a little bit earlier and have it all done in one shot through this board workshop /
Join the
special.
meeting.
Sorry. So I wanted to have 1 meeting rather than have 2 to 3 meetings to finalize all this stuff because, you know, we've discussed it already a few times. So what we did was we scheduled the workshop for the 10th. We'll show the recommended millage by that date, along with a full budget, both revenues and expenditures for the board's consideration. And then we will vote at that meeting and have it all done by then. We don't have to do it again on the 17th. And this will give us more time to submit the items and all that good stuff. I just wanted
Sorry,
to.
that was when, in August, you said, or September?
So there's 3 meetings. There's the millage that goes July 23rd. And then in September, the budget. So in the September meetings, there's 2. There's a first reading for the budget, which is September the 10th, and then a second reading, which is September the 24th.
Is that the City of Miami Commission, or is that our?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ratification of our budget. Understood.
Right, correct, sorry.
So the DDA's final, so our final push on the budget will be, is that the August 10th meeting?
So no, that's our deadline to submit the items to the agenda
Got it.
office.
July
So that's just for our internal purposes, but so you all can kind of see the time frame and why we schedule things so early on.
Thank you.
No problem. July 10th is when I want to have everything done. Because we can do millage and full budget by then. We'll have revenues in. So I can run numbers and show you all a complete budget by the 10th. We can vote on it and be done. Now, I say that with the caveat that if the city commission makes a decision on September 10th around our budget, like they've done in the past, you know, we've added money for ambassadors in the past and things like that, we have to adjust the budget before the 24th. So there may be a meeting that we need to have in between there due to that, but we won't know until we get there. But so you have a full map and picture here of what the process is and wanted to be able to show it to you all. And if you have any other questions, you know, we can discuss it more on the 10th, but by then I should have a full budget to propose to you all. And we'll probably, Danette, I saw your text. I'm sorry this morning I didn't have a chance to respond, but we can schedule a finance committee before the 10th if you're available, just to run through this one more time before we propose it to the board on that date.
Great, thank you. There's a lot to consider now,
Yes.
or reconsider.
Yes, so the city, just to quickly, the city's asking us to plug and help them, not plug, but help them with certain aspects of their budget, like sanitation and things like that, but I don't have enough information to get into the details. And the chair and I spoke a little bit about it this morning. We need more information from the budget office. So once I have that in the next couple of days, I'll be able to prepare a recommendation that we can discuss the finance committee and then on the 10th, if we feel that we want to go there.
That's
But
right.
there's
And
pros and cons, pros and cons, yes.
so we can negotiate with them.
Correct.
Because that's what. Christina, let me ask you something. Have we gotten any information from the property appraiser? If that, I mean, I don't know if, and maybe Danette could help us with it. I don't know if we have the value, property value has had a negative impact due to the coronavirus.
So I spoke with Fernando Casamayor at the city, who used to work at the property appraiser's office, and Chris about this. And we could reach out to the appraiser, but I sent, I guess it was now maybe a couple weeks back, an email to the board with the preliminary property tax roll that shows it went up 6.6%. So we've actually increased our tax roll in this coming fiscal year.
News.
So it's
That's
good
good
news. And so July 1st, we'll know the official numbers. You know, the June 1st numbers are preliminary, which they don't usually change much. So like I've been saying, I don't think we're going to have an issue in next fiscal year with our valuation. I think will come in 21-22, which is why we need to hold and be conservative this year to prepare for 21-22, because we won't have new construction, or we won't have much new construction like we've had in the past. And you also have we also have a potential maybe, which we don't know, right? Because none of us have a crystal ball, but in this discussions I've had with Chris and Fernando, they're seeing maybe a hit on the commercial side of things. But that being said, you know, that's why we want to prepare a conservative budget this year so that we're ready in case we do need to address any issues in the next fiscal year, 21-22.
Okay. Okay. Any other
yeah.
questions, anybody?
Oh,
No.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Next item. So I wanted to just discuss with the executive committee how you all feel about possibly scheduling meetings for committees beginning next, September, every other month. We had discussed this, I believe, prior to the chair coming on board. And it seemed like it was something that the board was willing to consider, but I wanted to bring it back up to see if we still want to go there, or if we still want to be meeting every month. It seems like that's already kind of happening naturally, like every other month. We didn't have urbanism this month, we'll have it next month. Same with enterprise, we skipped last month's meeting. So just wanted to bring it up to see if we wanted to adjust the schedule beginning in September when we start the year fresh. But open for discussion, just wanted to mention it.
Christina, talking about, now that we're talking about committees, at the beginning and before all this pandemic, we spoke and Gary presented with a suggestion of I will say either dividing or having additional committees. You see, we need a committee for other committees that will take a lot of work that urbanism, for example, has. And I think that we will have to discuss, and we will have to make sure that we divide those committees so they don't have so much work. I do understand that there's too much in their plate, and maybe we can divide the work and make it more efficient that way. And we need also a membership, board members, a committee, which one, how do we are going to bring people that wants to be part of being a member of the board, and it's going to replace those that have turned out. You see, I know that there's a couple of people that approach me that they want to be part of this, and I'm not that type of a person that I want to make the decision by myself. I think that we should have a committee that should look into those potential candidates. And having said that, and then there's other committees that could be formed according to the needs that we have and how we're going to do that. So I would love for you, for Gary and you to, and anybody else to work and bring a proposal to how we are going to, how many committees we should have, and when they should meet, and how many people should be in that committee. I hate large committees because in order to have a quorum and to make a decision takes a lot of time, and sometimes you don't have quorum, you see, and so just keep it simple, small, but I want it to be effective and start working into that.
Sure, and I think, I just want to mention that through the budget process as well, I think it'll help us streamline our work plan.
Sure.
So, I would say after that July 10th meeting, once we know what our budget is and what our priorities will be for next fiscal year, then we can talk about exactly what you're saying. If we need more committees or.
That's right.
In the meanwhile, I'll share with you, Christina, I'll reshare the what I put together, and we can review it together when you.
Yeah.
Good.
Before COVID, I know we were talking about.
That's right.
Making some changes, and then this all happened.
It's all happened. That's right. That's right.
But more so, just wanted to, if we continue with the two main ones, we always have executive every month. Finance committee meets as necessary. Nominating committee, which you're alluding to, for replacement of board members, usually starts May timeframe, which we're kind of past that, because usually terms are up in August. But whenever you'd like to convene that committee, we can always do that and move forward on that process. The other two, enterprise and urbanism, I just wanted to bring up because of the, I was seeing that we're already doing that every other month through this process of recovery, phasing, and all that. And if we all want to continue doing that, we can have a discussion in July after the board about schedule. But I just wanted to bring it up because it was, just something that we had been discussing, got paused, and wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page there moving forward. But I'll work with Gary on that.
Please do.
And we'll make a recommendation for the next meeting. Okay. All right, good. So then we're into the board agenda for next week. We had our 2 committees meet this week. So Enterprise and Recovery Committee, which ties into some of the recommendations for resolutions that are on here. But I'll just go through this quickly and you can stop me if you have questions. Obviously the minutes like we always do. And item 3B is appointing Jennifer as our Neat Streets Advisory Board member. The chairman asked that we reached out to all the board members to give you all first dibs at the seat. We didn't have any interest. I know everybody's very busy. Jennifer's been attending anyways, and she really enjoys it. And it's, falls under her purview. So I'd like to recommend her as the appointment for the DDA on the Neat Streets Board.
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Very qualified too.
Yes. And she would be here, but she's on vacation this week. So that's why you don't see her.
Well, let him enjoy himself.
Yes.
Vacation.
Back to work, making our streets neat.
That's right.
That's right.
And then the other item 3C and 3D are the 2 grant programs that we discussed at, 3C is actually our obsolete items. So every year we prepare an item, basically, old furniture, old computers, things of that nature. We have to do that for the code. And so that's that item. And what we do is we usually donate it to like one of the homeless shelters. We reach out to all of them to see if they need anything. And we'll donate the equipment and the furniture that we have on that list if they would like to take it. So that's that item. Is there any questions on that? Okay. And then 3D and 3E, and not to take away from Philippe and Nitin's update on their committee, but we discussed as part of the civil unrest that took place a couple weeks ago and the damages that were done to some of our downtown businesses, creating a grant program. And I don't know, Julia, do you want to walk them through really quick the guidelines for the 2? We discussed 2 programs, one to deal with emergency repairs for our businesses and the other one just more of a general small business grant program, which the committee seemed to like. We tweaked it based on their recommendations, and that the item 3D and 3E are those 2 grant programs moving forward. But Julia, do you want to walk them through really quick the updated guidelines?
Sure. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Julia.
As Christina stated, the first grant program is Emergency Storefront Recovery Grant Program to assist a few businesses that were impacted during civil unrest. This program is it's reimbursement for the insurance deductible up to $2,500. The application process, we tried to make it very simple and straightforward. The business has to be the small business within our boundaries. They have to provide the proof of storefront damage that was done to their business and copy of their insurance that shows the deductible amount. And once the grant is approved, they would sign our standard grant agreement. And upon showing that the repairs were done, the disbursement of the grant will be made. So very straightforward program, similar to our facade improvement grant. And the second program is a small business reopening micro grant program to assist our small businesses with the reopening process. Again, a very simple application process. The business has to be located within our boundaries. It has to be a small business, 1 to 15 employees. And the grant is in the form of reimbursement for any eligible business expenses, including rent or utility bills. And in addition, we want to include the reimbursement for purchases of any PPE equipment or any equipment that the business required to purchase in order to comply with the very strict COVID-19 requirements, such as cleaning supplies, deep cleaning of the business. It could be purchases of the plexiglass or maybe installation of the touchless payment system. And this grant is up to $1,250. And the business just simply have to submit proof of their location within Miami DDA. Obviously, they have to be active business and simply download the receipts of their eligible purchases. So So this grant is also on the basis of reimbursement. So, and I will leave it, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
No question
Thank you,
whatsoever.
Julia.
Thank you, Jude. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. And I think that we're doing a good thing here. We have to help our small businesses get started. They had suffered a lot. Some of them have lost all even the savings, personal savings with this pandemic, and any help that we can offer, it's going to be welcomed by them. So I think it's our duty to do this, and I'm happy that we are starting these programs.
Thank you.
Thank you for thinking about it.
And I'll just add that there's a rationale to help out a lot of different
Yes.
types of companies. Small businesses in particular have so little cushion, and
Yes.
many small businesses have very little cash on hand. And this is the type of thing that can really tip them into having to shut down. It's not only very unfortunate for them personally, but also for the entire community. If we have an abundance of small businesses that end up having to close down as a result of all the damage, that can really have a depressive effect on the entire economic ecosystem there in downtown. So I think that there's a benefit not only to those businesses individually, but also to the entire downtown area, where we had, I think at the time, Julia, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 18 or 20 businesses that had sustained damage during that time.
Right.
Yes, and this could say, and I agree with you, Felipe. We are saving jobs here, and which is very important. We're saving jobs. Small businesses are the biggest creator of jobs in the nation, and we have to do everything that is possible to jumpstart these businesses once again and help them as much as we can.
Yes. Absolutely. And I guess when we go over the enterprise committee, we can get into a little bit more detail about addressing.
Why don't you go ahead and jump into it, since it's kind of tied together anyways.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Then, of course, feel free to jump in at any time. So really, we divided it into the small business and the large corporation recruitment. Again, this small business, because it's such a central part of the engine for job creation and just for jobs, period, that this happens to be an area of our focus that we've continued to concentrate on. The Go Local campaign, which has really been at the heart of it, has done great work. There are currently 27 local restaurants that have participated in it. It looks like the program is going to evolve with time so that it goes beyond being discounts, but also rewards for small businesses that participate in it. So I'm not sure if Kevin wants to expand on that a little bit, but anyway, at a high level, that's what's going on. Similar to that program is a hospitality relief fund, which we've partnered with FIU and the Sobe Wine and Food Festival, which has resulted in $1.5 million that have been generated to help 440 establishments. I think that this has been a great program, particularly since hospitality, all the hotels, restaurants, anything to do with travel has been particularly hard hit and in the crosshairs of the economic downturn. So this is a great program. I think this is something that the DDA can be proud of, and that looks like it's going to continue for some time. Let's see. I think those are the main issues. And Christina, let me know if you want to add or if anybody wants to add anything on the small business portion.
Yeah, I'll just mention to your point about the large companies and small, that the business development team presented on the Salesforce numbers, and they had several meetings. I want to say, 12 to 15 meetings with major companies out of New York and Chicago that were looking to come to Miami. So that was very positive, and they're continuing to reach out. So that was, great news that we got an update on that, and that people are still looking to move to Miami. So.
Good job.
Absolutely. So the small, helping sustain the small businesses is absolutely crucial. And at the same time, taking this probably what's once in a several decade opportunity to try to recruit some of the large firms, particularly based in New York and elsewhere. But since New York was the center of the pandemic for a couple of months, I think it was, we have heard from and seen so many individuals and large corporations that are looking to move out of New York, many of which are interested in Miami, downtown Miami. And I think that focusing on, it's not an either or, we just focus on small business or just on the large corporations. But since there are so many large corporations that are interested in getting out of New York, this is a truly unprecedented opportunity for us to try to attract them. So part of that process, and this is riding on the long-term initiative that Nitin started and continued to develop, and also with the technology corporations that we focused on in the past, is really broadening that a bit, continuing to develop the package that we have that really helps clarify specifically why this is a very appealing alternative to those companies as they reconsider staying in New York. And again, there are so many companies, so many individuals, so many professionals that are eager to come down here, that I really think that this can be a critical part of kickstarting anew everything that's going on here in the DDA district. So I think this is a really, really important initiative. So looking at both the small business and the large corporations, trying to attract them here.
I want to add, Philippe, that we are an equal opportunity recruiter. We are recruiting small businesses, we're recruiting medium-sized businesses and large businesses. What we want is the businesses to come to downtown Miami, and I want to revitalize my downtown Miami. And we should take any action that is necessary to foster economic development in the city of Miami, in downtown Miami. So congratulations, and don't feel bad. It's a small business or a large business. We want them in downtown Miami. We want them. Okay, and that's a fantastic job, you see.
And
then
Philippe, sorry.
I was going to say, Philippe, just to add on real quick. Hi, everyone. I actually had 3 calls this morning, one with a venture capital firm and 2 tech companies, one from New York that's looking to relocate, and the other one from California. And to give you a sense of scale, one of them is over 10,000 square feet. So to echo Philippe's point, people are looking to come here. We should have a big net and do everything we can to help them transition into our urban core. So thank you.
It's fantastic.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and if I just might add, I think we should also think about the fact, particularly in our urban core, when you look at downtown and Brickell, a lot of the DDA areas, our incidence of COVID-19 is very, very low in these high rises. And I'm not sure any of us would have expected that at the beginning. But I think the condo associations, the property management companies in these large, very densely packed properties did a great job at making sure all their staff had all the PPE they needed, created all new cleaning protocols for every one of these residential buildings, new protocols for elevators. I live in one of these buildings. I rarely get in an elevator when people don't have masks on. And so I even think the housing choices for people that are relocating down here, because so many of our buildings in this DDA district are newer. I think we have a good track record on that as well, relative to sort of the older apartment buildings, the larger buildings that might be in a New York City. So we may over time need to look at that. We still have to be careful. Let's be very clear. We're seeing an uptick in cases. We still need people being careful and social distancing and wearing masks. But right now, I think last time I checked, we were under 100 cases in 33131 and under 100 cases in 33132, which are downtown in Brickell. And we got a lot of people.
Let's just say that to be clear though, it's, kudos to all those management companies being in the business. That's both the number of cases is both a curse and a blessing. Let me say, it is not easy as a property manager today to make
Yes.
sure tenants, many of whom are not taking this issue seriously, follow protocols. So
That's right.
thank you for continued support.
There was an article that
Good,
came out
good.
yesterday in the Wall Street Journal that said that 7.3% of the people that left New York came to the Miami metro area. And that's just now, and yesterday alone, I saw 3 different companies from New York touring the Brickell area.
And I think that's a trend that we can continue to, or that we can expect to continue to see. I think we're still at the very beginning of it, because we're still just coming out of, I guess, springtime, it's summertime, but I think as people who have endured this in New York with the extreme density, as they approach the fall time and winter, we're going to see even more of a push for people who've just become fed up. So, all of this is, it's unfortunate for New York. It's encouraging for Miami. And to Gary and Commissioner Higgins' point, I think that it is very important for us to continue to, as we think about the buildings and what value DDA can play in this role, is that this is largely an indoor virus. It's spread as a result of being indoor in close proximity with others for a prolonged period of time. And I think within the DDA, we've got a pretty good amount of expertise in this. And I know that folks that are involved in the enterprise committee have developed quite a bit of knowledge around this. And I think the guidance that we can provide to buildings, building management, restaurants, other types of offices can go a long way to keeping those numbers very low. Because again, this is primarily an indoor virus. And the more that we can educate and continue to help support companies and building management and that capacity, that we can keep our numbers low and make this an appealing place for people to move to.
Fantastic.
Can I throw out too, is I think, like, historically, the DDA has overshot itself in the foot on this issue. Felipe has done a great job. All the committees are doing a great job. We really work hard, but we advertise locally. We don't advertise nationally, right? And I always make the point that we run around advertising to people in the Miami Herald and regionally with a regional publicity firm. And great, we convince a bunch of people over in Hialeah to come downtown every once in a while with some stories. And all the stories we get up in the Northeast in New York, like the New York Times and the things that the business people read, it's just anecdotal, one-off stuff that happens to be written about Miami. So yeah, at the micro level, we're doing a lot. But let's be honest, the people we're getting are the people who already have mentally put in their mind that, hey, I'm tired of New York, I want to go to Miami. We have offices in New York and New Jersey. We have like 4 offices up there. And I literally just commute. There's 8 to 10 airplane flights per hour coming out of South Florida, going into the New York 3 airports, right? Per hour. So you leave in the morning, you get there, you're in New York by 8, 9 o'clock, you're at your meetings, you come home at 8 o'clock on a flight, you're home by 11, right? That's the connection between here and New York. So there's so much, yet we only are catching the people who already put it in their mind they want to move, and then have gone so far as to research and have come and contacted us or have somehow gotten there themselves. Me, I would think that a national publicity firm that would target the New York papers, Newsday, target the papers in Hartford, target the papers on a national level would take us to the next level.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think you should analyze that, Philippe, and you and Christina. I think that you should analyze that. I didn't know that we were not going national in our in our advertising campaign. I thought that we were going national.
We do, and I'm sorry I wanted to let Richard finish, but also as part of Enterprise Committee, Schwartz Media did their update on their PR campaign and what's next, and this was part of that discussion as well. And I don't know if
Christina, to be clear, Schwartz Media Company is a Miami-based firm, right? They don't have, maybe they know somebody who does something up in New York, and it's just lightweight stuff that doesn't get us. It gets us anecdotal stories. When they need copy for something, maybe we get a story, but we need a systematic, sustained effort with companies that are based in New York, that have the relationships in New York. Same way if I wanted to advertise in Miami, I might use Schwartz Media. I personally wouldn't, that's not my choice. But if I'm gonna go up into New York, I'm gonna want people who are into the New York Times, into all the media outlets there, and could plug us in, not just some one-off silly story that we get like once every 2 months. And then we all go, oh my God, look at, great, it must be popular up there. We're not doing anything systematic and sustained.
My impression is that we've actually had a pretty robust series of articles over the last couple of years in some of the major publications, including New York Times and Wall Street Journal, and some of the other publications there. I mean, I think the general point and direction is right, that we have to be even more aggressive, and specifically if we're targeting those cities like New York in particular, and that we can bolster the efforts. I mean, my personal impression is I think Schwartz has done an extraordinary job in terms of putting Miami on the map and telling the story and retelling the story and getting it in many, many different publications that are focused on these cities. Yeah, like I'm all for doing more, and in fact, I think this is a timely conversation because we're taking a look at the budget, and if the goal really is to try to initiate and really target more companies in New York, then the budget can reflect that. So so on that point, I most definitely agree.
I would say.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay.
I would suggest that there's a lot of businesses like my own who we're not local anymore. We're just regional now. And we fly in and fly out all day long. Those are the people who could move businesses down here just as soon as they have them up there. You know what I mean? Like with Zoom meetings, the big thing is now you don't have to be there anymore. So to me, I think the DDA has a big opportunity. And yeah, I get the fact that we see a news article in New York. I've seen them, but like we're Miami. We're one of the largest cities in the country. It's not that hard to find a news story about us. So in my opinion,
yeah, but Richard, with all due respect, because I've led this committee for a long time, and we've gotten more press. The New York media loves to hate Miami. So if there's anything going wrong in Miami, we can get 20 articles. Professionally, I have hired New York PR companies, the biggest there are for our project because of the scale and size. We got nothing except a fat retainer bill because all of the media, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, they don't do the stories on Miami out of New York. They do it out of Miami. So if you don't have relationships with the local folks, you get zero airtime. The other thing is we keep talking about New York. Hang on, Richard, give me a sec. Richard, give me a second, because this has been a 7-year journey and we've gotten tremendous press and recognition. We are beyond New York. If you talk to Danette, I guarantee she'll say a majority of the people that are looking at office space are coming from other places, not just New York. You're talking Chicago, you're talking Connecticut, you're talking Boston, you're talking DC, you're talking California. Each of those folks have their own PR groups. So, I mean, New York, you will not get a decent PR company for under a $25,000 a month retainer. So there's challenges to it. So I just think, I agree with you. We should revisit, we should be marketing. I've been on the phone with lots of folks. We're seeing the same buyers buying condos as Danette seeing office tenants, and they're not just coming from New York City. They're coming more broadly. But we shouldn't think that the New York media is going to be excited to write about how great Miami is. They will be excited to write about how bad New York is, so we should take that angle and try to work with them to say things are good here. So I'm all for a revisited, focused campaign if we have the budget to do it. I know we have a meeting coming up to talk about that, which I think is great. We've done events with the Convention and Visitors Bureau because they have a lot more money than us. We've done events with the Beacon Council. We've done massive media tours, met with all of the press in New York, leveraging the CBB and the Beacon Council and their PR companies because they have a reach of their own. So I think rather than the concept is great.
But let me just clarify too. Everything I'm saying is I think everybody's done a great job. Like, don't get me wrong. I know you guys have busted and really worked hard and done a great job and been very effective. I'm just saying we bring it to the next level when we get people to have relationships to the markets we want to focus on. So enough said.
I think that's great.
I having heard both of you, I think that it's a great idea, and you are and it's same wavelength. But I agree with Nitin that we should be revisiting this, and like everything in life, you see, once in a while you have to revisit, you have to reanalyze, and there's nothing wrong with it. Your committee, you can just meet and if the budget allows it, and we want to expand our PR campaign, but I have nothing against it. Anything that could enhance our appeal to anybody that from any part of the country or international that want to come to the city of, to downtown Miami or the city of Miami. I will support it. And one thing that I want to ask, which I don't have clear in my mind, how are we working with other agencies you see, that are trying to attract people to our area, you see?
I think that maybe Aaron is on, and if he wanted to tell a little bit about the international or the national reach that they have done so far and what they're working on right now. Aaron, do you want to?
Absolutely. Thank you, Danette. I would say that over the past year and going back really 9 or 10 years, we have to pick our spots carefully, and we have created a reputation of credibility for the DDA that's based on research and real intelligence as to what's happening on the ground. We're not looking to engage national media just for the sake of engaging national media. We're doing it for the right reasons. So just to give you some perspective, in the last year, or year and a half, we've had feature coverage on the office market, the hospitality market, our art and culture scene, what we've been doing on the resiliency side with the Baywalk and ULI, the finance sector initiative, not just in New York, but also in Chicago and other target markets. So it's very deliberative and thoughtful in our approach. And I'd like to think that we do have a steady cadence of visibility in top tier publications, be it Wall Street Journal or Financial Times or New York Times. And the media certainly think of the DDA as a source of what's happening here, and a credible source at that. And we've worked, as everyone in this committee knows, very hard over the years to build that up. Look, can the DDA do more? Certainly, we can always do more. But I think that it would be sort of blind to the facts to suggest that we aren't doing anything or not doing enough, because we are extremely visible in in-flight magazines that are to people traveling back and forth. And I think that, I'd be happy to share our 2019 report again if any board members haven't had a chance to see it. But it's cumulative and it's comprehensive. And for the members of the Enterprise Committee who saw our presentation 2 weeks ago, the national media is certainly going to be a key focus of ours as we come out of this pandemic and enter into recovery mode. And the research component that the DDA has been doing so well over the past decade is going to be a critical piece of that.
Yeah, if I could make a suggestion. So several years ago, I think folks from DDA were kind of flying like all over the world, different countries, different continents, different cities. And one of the things that we tried to do was to really narrow the focus, right? And I think this is a perfect time to dust off the recommendations that we made I think it was last year, and particularly in light of recent events. And I think getting input from Danette and Nitin and others who are seeing what has happened in the last 3 months, if it's a change, like all of a sudden it's these 4 cities that happen to represent 80% of the people that are looking at Miami. Those are trends that will be very instructive to us in determining where we, how we develop the message and where we target with our PR efforts. And I think, you know, particularly in light of the fact that we're effectively on a flying lockdown, I guess, you know, we're not really interested, I think, as a DDA in getting on planes and going all over the place right now. I think that the PR reach, and particularly if it's very highly focused on very clear cities based on the data that we're seeing from people that are in the know. Again, Danette, you're talking to a lot of companies, Nitin's talking to a lot of companies, others on the board. That can really help sharpen up our focus. It'll make us waste less time and to hopefully have a bigger impact. Because if we do discover that, hey, guess what? You know, it's New York, it's Boston, it's Connecticut, it's Chicago, and, you know, I don't know where.
LA.
LA, then we know, hey, let's stop everything and just focus on those cities, because that is how we're going to get the results. And so I think that would be, Christina, if I might suggest, maybe we put that on the agenda for the next enterprise meeting so that we can focus very clearly on that issue.
I do agree with you, Philippe. I think that whatever we do, we have to be very focused, and then we have to target those potential markets that could be influenced by any PR campaign that we do. I mean, I don't want to start a campaign to, I mean, Atlanta, for example, and I spend money in Atlanta when I know that they're not going to move here. You see, we have to be targeted, we have to be focused and targeted. I mean, this is our potential market. Let's go after them.
I would say 70% of the people that I'm seeing are from New York, and most of them are financial, hedge funds and wealth management firms. But I'm also seeing other types of companies as well, but predominantly it's financial and mostly from New York, Chicago, LA, and Boston. That would be
those are all initiatives. Those are all initiatives that the committee specifically took up as well for the past.
Correct. Right.
Okay.
I would suggest that all of those cities have one thing in common. I think there's a common denominator that ties through all of it. In part, I think it's a big factor. They all have a lot of direct flights into Miami. So for any business or any people who are moving around and running businesses, everybody's looking for a direct flight. New York is great because I can be on that flight. It's just, you could commute effectively. You know, your Chicago, those big cities, direct flights, I think are the ones I would identify and try to get data off of.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that we'll start working on it and trying to. I mean, the next meeting we should discuss. Are we going to expand our PR program, or how are we going to go about targeting those markets that we want to be in contact with? I think it's a good idea. Fantastic.
Great. Okay, so just wrapping up on enterprise, there are a couple of smaller issues, but those are, in the interest of time, just I think sufficient to cover the high level points.
Okay.
Thank you, Philippe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and we'll put that on the next agenda to discuss this a little bit more in depth.
Sure.
So the other committee that met was our recovery committee that's chaired by Richard, but that was on May 28th. I'm not sure if Richard, you got the recap notes, but if you want, I can just kind of quickly go through it.
I do, and I'll keep it at 30,000 feet just because, but we put together, we wanted a to-go plan starting day one, when it was a soft reopen to when it was a full reopen. The soft reopen, we had put together a to-do list of all the ideas that we could do to safely get people into the middle of Miami, revitalize those businesses. Christine and the DDA went out and met with the businesses, got their input, their buy-in on programs, and they've coordinated with the other organizations locally here too. We put together a big list. We put it to the board. The board gave us whatever input they have. We're probably going to be this next week to gauge where we are on the implementation of it. But I think we're going pretty good. Christine, anything?
You hit it. It's the recovery plan from phase 1, 2, and 3. Along the lines with the city and the reopening. And we've sent that to the board and gotten feedback. So yes, that's been finalized, and we'll get an update at the next meeting. And then the other thing that we discussed was the reopening and recovery guide that marketing put together. That's digital and evolving as things are opening. It has a bunch of different downloadable tools in there for businesses, everything from the signs that you put up for sanitation issues and things of that nature required by the CDC. And it's constantly being updated. So we discussed those two initiatives, and that was pretty much the gist of the recovery committee, the last meeting we had on May 20th.
But I'm laughing about that. I mean, who's fighting there?
My children, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get them to go downstairs. Summer camp starts May 28th, so.
Yeah.
Happy days.
And listen, this is great. I mean, I love these meetings because we can see families in action. I really do. I really do love them. Don't say anything to them. Don't tell them anything. Children are children, okay?
No, they're actually going downstairs right now. So
let them be.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience with me here.
No, that's absolutely fine. I mean, this makes it so familiar, I mean, this is family. We are big.
On the recovery committee thing, I do want to just point out, and I have a meeting with the city manager this afternoon to go over it as well, but we are still finding a lot of trouble, a lot of headwind, and a lot of resistance to bringing businesses onto the streets.
Yes, thank you, Gary. I was going to bring in updates, but go ahead and I'll chime in when you're done.
And on the county side as well, Commissioner Higgins.
Yeah, I actually made a phone call because Christina gave us a heads up that you guys were struggling with some design things. So once you guys have a thought of what the city would like to do, don't have the city go, the city bureaucrats go to the county bureaucrats. Alice has committed that we can work at her level.
The city actually is not going to anybody at the county and simply saying the county is requiring, these barrier types, and it is what it is. So that's part of the problem.
Who have they talked to? They certainly haven't talked to me.
No, the city isn't talking. My understanding is the city is just following directions from the county. They're not talking to anybody at the county.
So they're just in their mind imagining that the county will not help them.
Well,
good to know.
Let's
have them call me.
I have a meeting with the manager, and I'll follow up with him on it.
Absolutely, and I will follow up with the manager also, and I'm going to request, because that was that was one of my ideas, that to bring people on the streets, and I want to know why. You see, it was a directive given to the city manager, why it hasn't been implemented yet. In my opinion, it should have been a long time ago that should have been implemented, or should be decided which streets were and which sidewalks. Would they the businesses could use, and this was the idea was to help those businesses that are working at 50% capacity, so they can increase their capacity. You see, and the patrons there. I mean, that's I'm going to be talking to the manager as soon as we finish this meeting. I'm going to give him a call, and I don't want this blaming game that I don't care about. That I don't give a hoot about whose fault is it. We have to. So it's a problem with the businesses that we are allowing them to use the streets and the sidewalks. And why haven't we done it? I don't want this blaming game.
Yeah, so I can give a quick update on what I learned yesterday, or it's evolved, let's just say, over the last week. I sent an update to the board, I want to say it was like last Friday, and things changed exactly to Gary's point. But yesterday we had an encouraging conversation where the city basically said that they're willing to close 3rd Avenue. They want the businesses in the area to sign like a petition of sorts, because what happened was after the county okayed the street closures, the city then created the application, launched it, and the administration waited to hit the go button because they wanted to see what businesses were interested in the program, and they weren't getting
That's
traction
crazy.
by businesses, right? So it's like the chicken before the egg. So what we've been
That's
pushing
crazy.
is just do it, and we've been trying to push them to implement it, and that's been what we've been told. Now, Third Avenue, they're saying as of yesterday they're going to do it. So
But it's
this
not
is every
only
day is
Third
a
Avenue.
different thing. I know, I
It's
understand.
not only Third Avenue. I mean, how about businesses on First Street? How about
Exactly.
businesses on
Flagler.
Flagler? I mean,
Flagler.
it is not only Third Avenue. How about businesses outside of the downtown?
How about
I mean, this is
How about-
wasn't my idea was to provide that space to the businesses.
Well, we
And,
need your help. Because
well,
it's,
you got
and,
it. You got it.
and
you
Gary,
got it.
thank you. I know you said that you want me on that call tomorrow, so I'm happy to join you. Or
Okay.
today, isn't it today?
Today.
Yeah, today.
Put me on the call too.
Yes.
But here's a thought. Like, why don't we just go to the enforcement side of the city, right? If it's the city that you got to worry about, just get code enforcement and tell the police. If there's no enforcement side of this, let the bureaucrats
that's a good-
come up with all the silly stuff they want to, and we just don't. But
I promise you, I'm going to meet with a manager as soon as I get home, and I'm going to bring this issue. And I am not too happy with what's going on and the time that has taken to make a decision which streets and which sidewalks are going to be allowed to place tables and serve food over there. I mean,
The other thing I'll
doesn't-
mention is some
doesn't work.
businesses were concerned with the program and shared just a couple things that it's very hot, outside, it's summer months, and who's going to want to sit outside. So the umbrellas and the tents that we discussed we can still do all of that. It's just we need to implement it before we can invest in that.
But that's the business problem. I mean, if you
Right.
cannot afford I mean, maybe we can help you.
Christina.
But they are the ones that the logistic is the business is on the business side. It's on the court. You see,
I
what
think-
are the logistics? But the approval of
Right.
of allowing them to do business in the sidewalk on the streets is on us.
Yeah.
And I
Go
think
ahead, Gary.
as a DDA, we recognize the heat. And
Yeah.
I don't think we should pause on ordering umbrellas or tents or whatever. Go for it. Let's get it moving. Let's be ready so that when the city finally does kick it in, they're out there.
Okay, so what I'll do is we'll prepare an item for the board this coming Friday on that, because it's going to be significant. So we need to talk about it. The allocation of the dollars. Okay, so we can do that. That's fine.
Okay, and I'm going to tell them and go straightly to Commissioner Higgins instead of going around to any of the bureaucrats. Go to the commissioner.
I mean,
Okay.
we just haven't had any of this nonsense between the county and Miami Beach. It's working seamlessly. So, but I can't ask the county to approve anything unless I have something
Right.
to force them to approve. So if they're just talking to themselves, I can't help them.
Right.
Okay.
And they did their part. I mean, you got that done. We got the approval of the closures. I mean, me and Gary were shocked when we saw that map. I mean, they did their part. It's a matter of the city now saying, okay, let's do it on those particular roads.
And by the way, I got approval from FDOT to do main
Yeah.
FDOT roads in Miami Beach, and the city has not asked for my help on FDOT roads. Flagler and Little Havana, Cayocho. I mean, there's a lot, but right now let them focus on the city streets since they're not there yet. But FDOT gave us a 4-day turnaround for all of the streets we have in 4 days, not 4 years, as we're used to. So they are being helpful.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Guys, I'm sorry, just personal privilege. I do have to leave, but I wanted to toss it out there, particularly in the sunshine with Spencer here. Are we going to, in either committee or board, discuss the Back Bay study?
So I just sent you all right before this meeting, the update on, the presentation with kind of attaching like our response that we sent back in January.
Yeah.
And Spencer and I haven't got to talk yet, but I know he wanted to bring this up too, so we can definitely go into that.
Maybe at a future board meeting, because the one person I want to ask advice on, I have to do it in the sunshine, so that would be very helpful.
Yeah, and just a quick, I mean, it can take a little time later. I know you're in a rush to sort of let everyone know where we're at with this, but the high level takeaway is that, there's been a plan released that has some potential for pretty significant impacts to downtown. The two main elements are a flood wall in Brickell and the CBD, and a surge barrier on the Miami River. And I really think we need to take an active role in this because, you know, there is a lot of money being spent in this project. It's a $4.6 billion project. And, you know, we stand to benefit a lot from it downtown Miami as long as it's done right. If we don't get involved, there's the potential that we either lose that money or a bad project gets developed that could significantly impact the quality of life of downtown. And so just as a high level overview, that's kind of where we stand. I mean, I think I'm happy to kind of take the lead and try to review this. I mean, it's like there's, I think, 8 or 9 appendices, and the initial report is like 400 pages. So there's a lot to go through. But I'm sort of trying to work through it. And then I think we're going to try to establish some kind of workshop or something in the future so we can discuss as a board.
Yes, what I'm going to suggest is that we include our the city department, you know, public works, and because this is going to affect not only downtown Miami, it's going to affect the whole city, and it's going to affect the bridges. I mean, the river of, and I want to know. I mean, I want to understand this project and the reason and what is going to be the effect that's going to have on the river and also on the bay.
Are they still recommending building an 18-foot tall wall around all of downtown?
So I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
But this is the email that I sent to you all, just I guess it was about an hour ago. That has the attachment of the presentation. It has examples of the surge barriers that they're just discussing.
Yes, but that's a good question that Gary has because what I'm seeing an ugly wall over there.
Right.
I mean,
so
it looks
so
like
the,
looks more like a prison than anything else.
right. So the tentatively selected plan, which is the plan that's been circulated for public comment, would create a flood wall that goes from Broadway on 15th Road in Brickell up to MacArthur Causeway, 395 along.
That's the pink line that you're seeing here on the screen.
Roughly in that position, right? And so if you recall, initially they were planning to put the wall in the middle of Brickell Avenue, and it got shifted out to Brickell to the bay, in part I think because of the comments in the letter that we sent. But of course, we can't have a 15 or 20 foot wall on the shoreline of Brickell. It doesn't make any sense. And so, you know, it's very, very important that we get involved. I do this kind of work, and I've done this kind of work a lot. And my experience is that the Army Corps is going to listen to the county and to the local congressional delegation. The county is the local sponsor, so that's like the Corps' official local partner. And of course, the federal congressional delegation, our 2 senators and all the reps here in Miami-Dade County. And so one way that we can be very effective is to help influence the county's position and the positions of our federal delegation in a way that considers the issues the DDA is concerned with. And so, you know, part of that is federal advocacy. And I know we have, you know, a budget item to have a federal lobbyist, and I think that's something we need to talk about. But it's, look, we could just sort of put our heads in the sand and not really pay attention, and then at some point in the future we can object to it, and maybe it'll go away. But you know, I think knowing the issues of coastal flooding and how they have the potential to impact downtown. I mean, we've seen it during Hurricane Irma. You know, something has to be done. I don't think the city and county can really afford to do it on their own. And so having the feds involved and having their support is really helpful, but we can't have it done in a way that's going to impact or, you know, ruin the quality of life at Brickell. It doesn't make any sense. It's cutting off our nose to spite our face. So
it's not only Brickell. It's the Biscayne Boulevard, and it goes all the way to
Yeah, it goes up to MacArthur Causeway.
No, oh yeah, MacArthur
Well,
Causeway.
yeah. I mean, in terms of
it's that's why I'm requesting that the city of Miami be also included in this, and because this is going to affect not only Brickell and Biscayne Boulevard, it's going to. Only the area downtown or DDA area is going to affect a substantial part of our city. On the coastline, and so according to this, it goes almost all the way to North Miami.
That's true. Yes, Mr. Chair.
It goes, I would like the input from our public works department, and I would like to get them involved because the city of Miami is going to be tremendously affected by this. And from what I'm seeing now, looking at those walls, it scares me that we're going to have that wall. All in Biscayne, all along Biscayne Boulevard. You see, that's I don't know. Maybe it might be needed, it might not be needed, but this needs more discussion. More discussion, and it needs the input also of the county and the city of Miami. We should work on this together. You see, with DDA also, but we need to work on this together and see how this is going to affect our city. What I'm seeing here is like hell. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So we need to schedule a meeting, Spencer, probably with Alan Dodd and us.
Yes.
We'll work on.
We need to work with Alan Dodd, and we need to work with
Murley as well from the county.
And Jim. Okay.
I think would be helpful.
That's right.
All right, we'll work on scheduling that soon.
Yes, schedule that, and anybody else that wants to participate should be invited.
Is there anybody on the
particularly from our board?
Okay. Greg West participated last time. I don't know if there's anybody else on the call.
Well, just let him know and let him decide.
Okay, we'll send an email.
Okay, let him know and let him decide.
But do check out that email I sent with all the attachments that has it.
I have it
here. Okay, great. Thank you.
So,
I believe that was it for updates. I don't know if there's any other new business or if there's any public comment, Yvonne, that you'd like to.
Yes, I do have a public comment email, and it's also on the chat from Abigail Abe from the BHA, and the email was addressed from the BHA. We would like to bring up the issue of homelessness in Brickell. There are a couple of hotspots in our community, and I would like to see how we can work together to get these individuals to a shelter. Number one, does the DDA have a plan in place? Number two, can you share the plan with us? And number three, can we host a webinar to further educate the residents? And Abby is on. I had to allow a couple of people to jump on our Zoom call.
I have to inform you that I think it was a couple of days ago we had a meeting with the first meeting that we're going to tackle how are we going to change that street feeding, and it was a meeting that city was and between the city, the homeless trust, our legal department, etc., the police, and in order to start creating a program that where we will eliminate street feeding, and at the same time we will get the homeless together and offer them the support system that they require, and try by all means to try to guide them into shelters and into treatment, and that's what we're doing, and from the city of Miami, from our side, and this is what we are starting at, and we're starting the wheels going, and everybody was very enthusiastic about it, and I am hoping that pretty soon we will have a clear program where everybody's going to have responsibilities and everybody's willing to accept the responsibility, and it is a comprehensive program that will eliminate once and for all street feeding, and also will create a system that which our final goal, it is to bring as many as we can into shelters and get them out of the streets, and if it's possible, rehab them and get them back into society. But that is what we've been doing, and it takes time, but we are working on it. We had this first reading for this ordinance. It was last meeting, and we're going to have the second reading very soon. And but we are not waiting until our second reading of the ordinance that it was supported by DDA, and that and we are working on it. We are ready, starting the wheels going. You see, and that's the only thing that I can say about it. We still are waiting for the decision and about Pottinger, but that is a decision that has to come on from a higher court in Atlanta, and that's all we have. We are doing everything we can, and also. In downtown Miami, not only downtown Miami, but the lightning ordinance is going to come on very soon to in front of the commission, and that is an ordinance that it requires that all overhangs will be lit, and it have to be very clear. And we are still working with trying to bring more lighting to downtown Miami and so on. Even though the pandemic has hit us hard, we keep on working towards the goals that I stated when I first came in. We are going to be working on it and keep on working on it. That's all I have to say about the homeless. And
Is there any more public comment, anyone? Or was that
nothing else was received by phone or email, but Abby just answered, said thank you. Yes, a great initiative start on the feeding, Commissioner Reyes. Elena and I spoke, and we want to do a meeting with the Homeless Trust, DDA, Commander Ellington, and other key players to educate our community.
Absolutely. Yeah. One thing good about this initiative is that it's been supported by Hermanos de la Calle and Camilo Sanz. It's been supported by the Homeless Trust, and I think that we might do something that is going to be effective. I really hope, and I'm going to work very hard on it. Yes, kind of be sure. Okay.
Thank you. I'll just point out that you do have the action plan updates in your package for the remainder of the work that the staff has been doing, if you want to take a look at that. And with that, if there's no other public comments, I think we can adjourn the meeting.
Well, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I have just one quick reminder for all the board members. If you have not submitted your financial disclosures, they're due by July 1st. I think I've received most of them, but just wanted to mention that. And then the meeting on July 10th, Christina, if you want to elaborate on that.
I did at the beginning,
the
budget workshop.
Hey, listen, guys, so nice to see you. So nice to change ideas and talk about this. And it's been a pleasure. And everybody be safe and take care of yourself.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you all.
Bye, everybody.
Hi, thank you.